California's Gold is produced in association with KCET Los Angeles and is seen statewide on California Public Television. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association. Okay, here's the deal. We're heading down old Route 66. We're driving a 1952 Chevy convertible. We got the dice hanging from the rear view mirror. We're set, and I'm riding with Jim
Conkle.
Jim Conkle, and what's your position with the Route 66 Association?
I'm the founder and executive director of the California Route 66 Preservation Foundation.
Boy, that's a big name and an important organization because you're trying to help preserve and increase consciousness from all of us as far as Route 66 is concerned.
We're trying to preserve, restore, and enjoy the Route 66.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Route 66. How long is Route 66?
Originally 2,248 miles from Chicago, Michigan Avenue in Jackson to downtown 7th and Broadway in Los Angeles.
And how many of those miles were in California?
A little less than 300 miles.
Okay, now we're in Monrovia. We're on Foothill Blvd, which used to be, I guess it still is, part of the original Route 66.
That's correct, Huell. This is the original alignment. The current alignment is a little bit to the south of us on Huntington Drive through this area.
Yeah, because Route 66 these days kind of comes and goes, doesn't it?
You're right there.
It's not a continuous stretch. All right, so what we're going to do, there have been a million programs done about Route 66, but what we're going to do on this particular program is we're going to stop at two places on Route 66 that have kind of retained their original character because Jim wasn't part of the lore of Route 66, that it had all these wonderful places to stop along the way.
We refer to them as road icons, but you're absolutely right, Huell. People traveled the road. They didn't celebrate the road. They celebrated the culture. And the first stop today is in Monrovia at the Aztec Hotel, that we're very honored and proud that we're doing a restoration project there along with the current owner and the State Historic Preservation Office and the National Park Service.
All right, you kind of gave it away. We were going to make it a big surprise. But that's
I'm
okay.
sorry. We're so proud of that.
Because both of these places we're going to stop are definitely out of the ordinary. They catch your eye when you drive by, and both of these places right here on Route 66 are fine examples of California's gold. I like these dice.
Oh, don't they add to it? We can get you a set if you want one.
Our first stop. Hey, we're here.
We made it.
Okay, our Route 66 adventure begins here in downtown Monrovia in front of the historic Aztec Hotel. And here to greet us, Kathy, your name is?
My name is Kathy Reese McNeil, and welcome.
And you are the owner of the Aztec Hotel.
I am. Actually, it owns me, but yes, I am the owner.
All right. Now, what's the history behind this hotel? Because it has a very prominent position right here on the side of good old Route 66.
It sure does. Well, it was prominent in 1925 when it was built. It was opened September 6, 1925, and it was to be the place where everyone came out along Route 66 on their way out to Palm Springs.
All right. Now, what's the deal on this architecture? What do you call this architecture?
These are all Mayan glyphs, or patterned after Mayan glyphs, and the architect was very into the Mayan glyphs, so he had all of these different little indentations and just kind of built into the architecture of it.
Now this is beautiful, and this is all original, and it looks to me like it might have been covered up at one time over the years.
You got it. Actually, we just started taking all of the stucco off of the outside because it had all been covered and you couldn't see any of these details. And what was so wonderful about it is that when we started taking off some of the stucco, we started finding these beautiful handmade glyphs and just all these different wonderful things that had been done. Yeah, it was wonderful.
See the stucco up there. So
Right.
at some point, probably in the 50s or 60s or 70s, they stuccoed over it. And this is all stucco down here. So underneath this
Right.
is this.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, if you see all of the little reliefs and things like that, the original was all done similar to this. Now there's some places that have to be redone because they've changed some of the front of it, but all of this was under stucco. They decided it was much prettier white stuccoed. But I guess that was the times, wasn't it?
This hotel has kind of had a, well, I don't want to say a checkered past, but it was always a hot spot. Let's put it that way.
That's a very nice way to put it. It very colorful past, and started out during the 20s when it was a hot spot, and a lot of the Hollywood elite would come out, and whether they went all the way out to Palm Springs or when they just stopped here, they'd come and play and stay and kind of get away from the rat race. And of course, the architect was very colorful as well. Of course, it had some other colored times during its life, and now we're trying to bring it back to the way it was in 1925.
So you're restoring the old Aztec.
Yes.
We're in the lobby, and the first thing you see is this original.
Absolutely.
Wow, that is beautiful.
These were all handmade by the architect who actually worked with the film studios as well in making a lot of the lights and that type of a thing that are throughout.
And look at this. Now, this is what really captures your attention when you walk in the front entranceway here.
That's right.
This is original.
Absolutely. This is original, and I believe that Robert Stacy Judd, who was the architect, actually had his hand in this one. There's several murals throughout the hotel, but this is one of the most significant ones, and you just get it when you get in here. It's not been touched at all.
Wow. So this goes back to 1925. 25.
That's right, and it hasn't been touched since then.
It's amazing that it's remained like this all these years.
Absolutely.
This is absolutely spectacular. I'm not sure what the message is here, but
I kind of am with you on that one. I'm not sure any of the Mayan messages, but I think that there is some message to it.
look at this lobby. More of these wonderful old lights. You've got the beams on the ceiling.
Absolutely. Yeah, these lights, again, were created by the movie studios, and we've got someone at contact for that now, so we can recreate some of these things.
Look at this thing over here. Oh, it's a water fountain. Look at this.
Absolutely. It's an original water fountain, and of course, this is where Robert Stacy Judd, which was the architect, where he put his mark, because this is where the building was established, and it says who the architect was. He was very unique, very eccentric, people talked about.
You keep saying that. What do you mean by that?
Well, of course, he was a world traveler, and he went to, some places during, the Yucatan and a lot of the areas, and he studied Mayan culture. He loved it, so he brought that back. But he actually would wear the traditional garb, and he was just people talked about how eccentric and how kind of quirky he was.
Well, that's another reason to stop by the hotel when you were going through Monrovia.
Absolutely. We like quirky.
And you could have a drink at the water fountain, which still has a little bit of water coming out of it.
Just a tad.
But you get the idea, and all of this has been here just like this.
And if you notice, throughout all of the reliefs that we have here, there are 2s and 5s throughout everywhere.
What do you mean?
So, for example, if you see this down here, this is a backwards 5. This on this side, right here.
Oh, right here.
This is a backwards 5 or an upside down 2. Also, if you look through here, this is similar 5s and that type of a thing. Throughout up here, there's more 5s and 2s.
Ha! Look at this up here. This, just looking up.
Even if you look at the beams, there's 2s and 5s, which is 1925.
This is it just has such an interesting, look back in here, even the staircase back here.
Absolutely.
Just the way it's all built and it comes up here. They knew what they were doing back then, didn't they?
Absolutely. I mean, the architecture, the quality was just completely different than, it is today. And it's just so exciting to be restoring this.
Well, it must have really made an impact back then. This was not the usual thing you saw on the side of Route 66.
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, it wasn't the usual thing that we saw anywhere throughout the country,
We're in the hotel dining room, and has this always been the dining room?
It's always been the dining room.
So this was the place to come eat.
This was the place to come eat.
And be entertained, because I'm sure they had, looks like you got a dance floor here, there's a piano here.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we put this dance floor here, but the floor was actually like this in the picture that we found from 1925.
And something else that you found in that picture from 1925, and that's where you come in. Your name is?
Jorge Visoria.
Nice to meet you, sir. And he's not standing in front of this just out of coincidence. Tell us the story about this mural.
Well, it's actually really exciting. Jorge came to us a couple of years ago, and of course I've had a million people telling me what great artists they are, and he happened to be true. So we went to Santa Barbara, which is where all of these pictures are housed in a catalog, and we were able to pick up the original pictures that were in here. These were all white walls. There was a kind of funky mural here. We picked those up, and Jorge took 6 or 7 different pairs of glasses and several magnifying glasses to see this small, tiny little picture and recreated this in color.
Wait a minute. You found an original picture of this place taken from the 1920s.
1920s, yes.
And totally recreated this mural, which had it been just painted over or whitewashed?
No, it wasn't anything. Just I recreated first the scale, and from the scale I transferred to the wall exactly the same place, the same dimension.
Was there anything on the wall at all when you started? Nothing. It had been just totally painted over.
Exactly.
But this is the original. This is the way that original mural would have looked.
Absolutely. And what was so amazing is the colors match so well. Just talking to some of the historians, how Jorge captured the colors as well.
What are we seeing here? What is this?
Well, the strange part about this, of course, I talked to you about the Mayan, that he was very interested, and the Aztec. Of course, the Aztec was named the Aztec, even though it was Mayan, because he didn't think anybody in the United States understood the Mayans at that time. But if you look at some of the pictures around, you'll find that the Indians are a blend of Mayan, Aztec, and American Indians. So it's just very unique how, because of course the Mayans wouldn't have been trying to get things from a sailing ship, probably, especially probably more of a Spanish sailing ship.
Well, you're kind of nitpicking now. The idea is this is the recreation of this original mural.
Absolutely, and that's what's so unique about it. He was quirky. He just did these really interesting, fun things.
Had a mural on the wall of the Aztec Hotel featuring Mayans.
That's right.
We're in the back courtyard, and this was original.
This was original. This was originally a big grassy area where everybody just came and hang out and would sunbathe and have fun.
So this was a place, was this a place where people stopped or where people stayed?
Oh, it was an actual hotel. It was the place where people came and actually stayed for the night on their way out to Palm Springs on Route 66, or they would come out from Hollywood. And it is, again, a hotel.
So people stay here now?
Absolutely. It has gone from being more of a residential hotel that kind of fell on some hard times to a hotel that is 60% of the rooms are nightly only. As a matter of fact, last week we had a 2-day seminar workshop for Route 66. We had a big group come in, and they had just a blast. They stayed in their rooms, they came down and had their workshop, and then of course every Friday and Saturday night, which are our big nights, we have between 500 and 600 people here from all over. Local people, people that come in and stay.
In this courtyard?
In this courtyard.
looking and listening to this Aztec fountain.
Absolutely.
Now this doesn't look original.
No, I have
kind of kitsched it up a little bit.
Just a little. No, actually. Well, we have to at least keep in the tradition of it. So actually, Jorge, who is the artist, and one of my bartenders, who is actually an artist as well, designed this to kind of put their little mark as well in their corner of the Aztec Hotel.
Well, thank you for the tour and for the good work you're doing, restoring all of the wonderful murals inside. Thank you for the work you are doing. Congratulations. This is obviously an ongoing labor of love for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming out and enjoying Route 66 in the Aztec Hotel.
The good old Aztec Hotel right on the side of Route 66 in downtown Monrovia.
There you go.
It's alive and well, been here since 1925 and still going strong.
Absolutely going stronger than ever, and you have a standing welcome anytime you want to come back.
And each time we come back, it will be the restoration, it will be coming more along, because this is going to take a while. It's still a little rough around the edges in some places.
Absolutely.
But that's what makes it so much fun, that you're actually bringing it back.
Absolutely. And when I look at it every once in a while and see the rough edges, I remember where we came from, and I look forward to where we're going, and I just keep that vision positive, and it's exciting.
Boy, this has been exciting for us. Thank you all again. Now we're getting, we're just halfway through. We still got another place to visit. Jim has the car. Oh, I'll get in the front with you. Jim has the car all revved up. Boy, it's hot out here too. Oh, and we are getting ready to take off and continue our journey down Route 66. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Come on with us. We're heading to stop number 2. Okay, as our adventure continues, we've now come about 40 miles east of Monrovia on historic Route 66. There are the signs right up and down the highway here. We're now in the town of San Bernardino. And let's talk just a little bit more, Jim, about what you had talked about these roadside icons along the side of Route 66. There were lots of them, weren't there? Hotels, motels, restaurants.
Well, it went into curio shops, so you didn't know if you were pulling into a gas station or a motel, because they all sort of had the same ambiance, but they were trying to draw the attention of the traveler. And the more they could have two-headed snakes or the dancing grizzly bear, the more they had the opportunity to get the traveler off the road. We have seen quite a few of them just from 40 miles west to east. You travel Route 66, we call it roadside architecture. It was a little bit of glitz and a little bit of whatever somebody wanted to throw together, and that's what brings us out here from the Aztec.
So the idea was to create something that would get your attention and get you off the road and leave some of your money wherever you pulled off to, right?
That's a very good description, Huell, because it was an economic indicator, and they did compete with each other. This was before a lot of advertising, so you would see signs, curio shop so far ahead, two-headed snake so many miles ahead, and so you have to pull off and test the wares.
Well, the Aztec Hotel in Monrovia certainly made and makes a statement, and I know that the people of Monrovia and of your association have got to be proud of the way that place is looking now.
We are very proud, because that is a unique Robert Stacy Judd. That's the only hotel that he designed. It played a very vital part of new Route 66. It actually is a year older than the road. It's 1925. The road came about in 1926. But now we're at a place where that's a unique in and of itself. But now we're out here in San Bernardino, where the rendezvous is held every year, and this is where we're at now at the new place.
Yeah, you don't want to give that away yet.
No.
Because I want to give it away. And the way I want to do it is say I thought that we were at an exciting place at the Aztec Hotel, but now we've come to a motel that tops any motel I've ever seen in my life. Look where we are. We're in the middle of a bunch of wigwams here in San Bernardino. And here's Mr. Wigwam. What's your name?
Nice to meet you. Manoj Patel is my name.
All right, now your family owns these wigwams.
Yes, it's been about 2.5 years.
And what was the condition of these wigwams when you got them? Because they look pretty cleaned up and nice to me now.
Yeah, they were really in poor condition.
Uh-huh.
Everything needed to be reworked from the inside out. The paint, the landscape, the pavement, everything just needed to be turned around.
Now, did you know what you were getting into when you bought this motel? Did you buy it not really knowing the history behind it?
I knew that it had historical significance because it's just the architecture. It's so unique, different. So slowly I learned. I was able to learn about its significance.
And what did you learn about it? And Jim, come on in here, because these are significant, aren't they?
Well, Minaj, when he first took over this, first time I met him, he was wearing painted clothes, had paint all over him. He was really dwelling into this, and I think he knew what he had, but he started associating himself with all the other people in the Route 66 community, and we came to his, not his rescue, he actually came to ours. We actually joined forces with Minaj, and I think it's interesting that the Wigwam Motel in San Bernardino, California this year won 2 of the top preservation awards in the Route 66 community, all because of him and his family.
And the good job they did.
Oh, they've done an excellent job.
Now, what's the history? Let's walk over here by these things. This is just beautiful out here. What's the history of these? These started back in the 30s, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Back in Louisville, Kentucky, and there were 13 of them. There are 2 still in existence, one here and one in Holbrook, Arizona. This one is really a showcase now. It was run down, terribly dilapidated.
Look out here. How many wigwams do you have?
There's a total of 20.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 wigwams.
Yep.
Oh, you're counting the office.
Yeah. And the 21st foundation is hidden right in the back there.
The Wigwam Motel since 1949. And boy, these things really make a statement out here. Do you have people just swerving off the road when they see these things?
Always. People are so amazed by these buildings that they just stop by, want to see what it looks like.
What do they say? What do they comment?
Well, they're just amazed, you know. That's all I can say.
What are you laughing about?
Well, we've actually seen busloads of tourists where they'll stop and they get out and take their pictures, and they just go like shaking their heads, and they get back in their buses, and we've seen them do this. And then not just buses, but people will stop here and go, wow, what does it look like inside is the first question they ask him. Does it go like this?
Wait a minute, I got a good question. What does it look like inside?
Well, we can go and take a look at it right now.
All right, let's go. Let's go look at one down here, because this is. Does it really make any difference? I guess they're all kind of the same, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, we're going in the teepee. Well, no, it's not a teepee. It's a wigwam.
Well, we went to the Aztec, and it wasn't an Aztec. It was a Mayan.
That's right. All right, so we're going inside the wigwam. Here we go. This is a first. There's a wagon wheel headboard in the wigwam. It's very nice and clean and restored and beautiful. But the first thing I did when I came in was look up. I was expecting to go to the top of the wigwam, and there's a ceiling up there. What's the deal here, Minaj?
That's just how it was designed, unfortunately, but I wish if there was, you know, just the opening.
What's up there?
I think it's just like an attic with framing.
I think there was a design flaw here. I wanted to come in, if I'm laying in my wagon wheel bed, I want to look to the top of the wigwam.
Boy, that's taking a skylight to its ultimate, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but this is false advertising. You think you're coming into a wigwam and it's got a low ceiling in here.
That's just how Frank designed it.
So we're going to blame it on the...
Frank Redford, who designed the first one in 1933 in Kentucky, actually because he traveled with his children and he wanted to do something unique, so he designed one.
For his children?
For his children. There were 13 of them across the country. There's still one besides this one in San Bernardino. There's one in Arizona.
And they all kind of looked the same. They had the same architectural design.
Absolutely.
We've come outside the wigwam. We've hooked up with your mom, and your grandparents are involved in this as well.
Exactly. They'll come in towards the morning, clean the grounds, you know, like do a little gardening work, things like that.
So it's a family-run motel on the side of Route 66, which is exactly the way it used to be.
Absolutely. Everybody does everything. They clean the rooms, they check people in, check people out. This is the kind of thing where people stood together as a family, and that really is what Route 66 was all about.
Yeah, because we're not talking about big motel and hotel chains back then. These were owned and operated and designed and marketed, everything by local people, by families.
They had to build them, maintain them, promote them. They're always trying to find a new thing to get the people to come in.
Yeah.
You know, where they advertised air conditioning or air-cooled rooms was the one. I mean, this was not too long after indoor plumbing came out. So the Wigwam, some people call them teepees. This was just a unique way of making a motel for the people to stay at.
Well, it's working, and where's our lady from the Visitors and Convention Bureau? Because it is working, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is.
Well, tell us how it's working. How do the people of San Bernardino feel about all this?
Well, we're just so happy that Minaj and his family have taken on this awesome responsibility of restoring this facility for the folks that are traveling Route 66, which happens to go through San Bernardino.
These things were not in good shape, were they?
No, they were not.
I hear they almost were bulldozed down.
You're correct. So we're very, very appreciative of their effort.
This is absolutely spectacular. The Wigwam Motel here in San Bernardino, and I guess we can just close up our program right now. I was going to do it over by the car, but this has been such a wonderful day to see these two places, the Aztec Hotel and the Wigwam Motel. And these are two of the remaining pieces of iconic architecture on the side of historic Route 66. I know there are others, but I think we made a good choice in these two, don't you, Jim?
Well, Huell, they really are California gold.
Wait a minute, you're taking my line away from me.
And you're a part of California Gold, and by having you come to these two establishments today, we really appreciate it, Huell.
All right, let's finish up this program. We've had an absolutely wonderful day at these two places on Route 66 in Southern California, historic Route 66, the Aztec Hotel and the Wigwam Motel, right on the side of the highway, and both of them go on this adventure again or share it with family or friends, all you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727 and we'll drive it over to you right away.